Howdy. We're going to look at section 8.4 today, and really it's going to be, I would call this stuff today, factoring, more factoring, and reducing fractions. So if you are a solid factor, today is one of those days that this is going to smooth sailing for you. If you're one of those people that still doesn't believe me when I say you're going to have to know how to factor before you leave Algebra 2, today is going to be another one of those days where you're going to struggle. Because all we're doing today is factoring. Basically, I call kind of this chapter, chapter 8, I call it advanced fractions. We're going to look at, and yesterday we kind of graphed those advanced fractions. Today we're going to look at multiplying and dividing fractions. Tomorrow we're going to look at adding and subtracting fractions. So really, it's just fraction work. And if you think back about how you multiply and divide regular fractions and how you add and subtract regular fractions, hopefully you'll agree that multiplying and dividing is easier than adding and subtracting because of the whole common denominator stuff. So we're going to start with the multiplication and division today, and then tomorrow we're going to hit the addition and subtraction part. So today is a review of factoring, mostly. Really just keep in mind that all we're doing is reducing the fractions today. Review of factoring, what ways can you factor? Hopefully when I say that word factor, you don't think it's a dirty word. Hopefully you think the word factor at this point of the game, it's something you can do, and you can do it pretty well. We factor trinomials using our diamond problem. We factor the difference of squares. We factor by grouping. We factor the sum and difference of cubes. You guys are all saying sum and difference of cubes. I forgot those. I'll show you how to do that again when it comes up today. So again, we're always looking for these things. We also can factor out a common factor. I forgot about that one. And those are really kind of the tools in our toolkit that we'll use and apply as we continue to work through this chapter and really kind of today and reduce the problems. So factor is going to be the key. After we factor, we're going to look to do this word right here, which is simplify. A big thing that students make mistakes on in this problem is, on this chapter, is putting equal signs when they aren't there to begin with. And today, the word simplify, and the word simplify always means write it in an easier form. Write it in an easier form. Today, in the context of what we're doing, it's going to be reduce fractions. Again, simplifying fractions, reducing fractions. Those words go hand in hand. Later on, we're going to solve problems. But today and tomorrow, we're really just simplifying. Simplifying, there's no equal sign in the problem, so that means we had better not get a solution. No solutions, just actual reduced fractions. That's what we're looking at. Whew. That looks big and intimidating, Mr. Wood. Simplify. 4x squared times x minus 1 times x plus 4, all divided by 2x times x plus 1 times x minus 1. Since I'm such a nice guy, stop laughing. Since I'm such a nice guy, I've decided to factor everything for you on this problem. Again, 4x squared times x minus 1 times x plus 4 over 2x times x plus 1 times x minus 1. Our whole technique when we're working through simplifying today is always going to be factor first, then simplify. Factor first, then simplify. Today, like I said, excuse me, on this problem, we've already factored. After we've factored, please realize that everything in the numerator is multiplied, everything in the denominator is multiplied. Because everything in the numerator and denominator are multiplied and we are factored, it's at this point we can simplify or reduce the problems by removing common factors. The way that I will reduce removing common factors is use a giant 1. I have x minus 1s in common. I will remove the x minus 1s. I do not have any other common factors yet. X plus 4 and x plus 1 I cannot simplify. So my expression now reads 4x squared times x plus 4 over 2x times x plus 1. And again, you can see x plus 4 over x plus 1 does not reduce. Excuse me. At this point, some of you guys are thinking, 4x squared over 2x, I believe I can reduce, Mr. Wood. In fact, I recognize that there's a common factor between the 4 and the 2. So I think it's totally appropriate for me to simplify that. And you can. 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 4 twice. So now we have 2x squared times x plus 4 over x times x plus 1. Hopefully some of you guys are saying to yourself, I think I can take this a step further. I remember long ago in a galaxy far, far away when Mr. Wood told me that when I have division of exponents with common bases, I subtract them. And indeed, that's exactly what you do. We have 2x squared up top, we have an x to the 1 on the bottom. I'll subtract those exponents. Hopefully you'll agree with me that it's going to be 2x up top times x plus 4 over just x plus 1 on the bottom. If you want to see what I'm doing with the exponents, that's saying x squared, which is x over x, divided by x. I've used my giant 1, and I just have an x. Another way to see that visually, that is x squared divided by x to the 1. So that is x to the 2 minus 1, which is just x to the 1. At this point, I do not have any other common factors that I can remove. Students like to magic math their way out of this. This is your answer. Do not do anything else with it. That's all you need to do. It is reduced. That is simplified. So don't do anything else. Factor first, then simplify. That's the name of the game today. Next problem. X squared minus 2x minus 15 over x squared minus 9. And again, I hope that at this point, today is one of those days that you're thinking to yourself, if all we're doing today is factoring, this is going to be easy, because that is all we're doing today. Factor the top, factor the bottom. Again, factor first, then simplify. Factoring the top, that's negative 15, negative 2, x over. Let's see, I believe that's going to be negative 5 and positive 3. So that's my top. Hopefully you recognize the bottom, x squared minus 9 is the difference of squares, which will factor to x plus 3, x minus 3. So I'm going to rewrite it in factored form. X minus 5 times x plus 3 over x plus 3 times x minus 3. At this point, we've got everything factored. Factor first, done. Now simplify. Simplify by removing your common factors. I have a giant 1, common factors of my x plus 3's. So that will leave me x minus 5 over x minus 3. Students will want to factor those x's, cross-cancel those x's out. You cannot do that. These are, x minus 5 is different than x minus 3. So you cannot simplify that. That is your answer. Do not magic math it, and do not simplify it more than that. Factor first, simplify. Name of the game, easy peasy lemon squeezy today. Checkpoint for you guys. Pause the video, simplify that fraction, unpause the video, and then we're going to move on. All right. Hopefully you paused the video, got that one done on your blue paper. Moving on to the next problem. Multiplying rational expressions. Let's see. It is just like multiplying regular fractions. In fact, I'm just going to get right down to it. Factor, factor, reduce, and then multiply. You'll see it when I post it, how it's just an extension of what we just did. We've got x minus 4 over x cubed plus 1 times x squared minus x plus 1. Mr. Wood, that does not look anything like that last problem we did. In fact, that looks hard. It looks impossible. I don't know how to factor. X minus 4 isn't factored. X squared minus x plus 1 is not factorable. So I can't do anything there. I don't even have a fraction here to multiply it by, Mr. Wood. Well, first off, let me ease your pain by telling you that, hey, we can make anything a fraction by putting it over 1. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So let's rewrite it. That's x minus 4 over x cubed plus 1 times x squared minus x plus 1. Some of you guys are going to ask, well, how come I can write it under one roof? Remember, when we multiply fractions, we multiply the top and then we multiply the bottom. So x cubed plus 1 times 1 is x cubed plus 1. Up top, x minus 4 times x squared minus x plus 1. I'm going to leave that as factored. Some of you guys are starting to see where we're going with this, and some of you guys probably already worked ahead through this problem. Because you recognize that x cubed plus 1 is the sum of cubes. And I can factor the sum of perfect cubes. So here's my rewrite. X minus 4 times x squared minus x plus 1. To factor the sum of cubes. A review, that's x cubed plus 1. We write it as perfect cubes. X cubed plus 1 cubed. And x plus 1 cubed, we know that our first factor will be a linear or a binomial factor. It will be x plus 1. Then our trinomial factor will square the first one. That will be x squared. Our last term is squaring the last one, which is 1 squared. And our middle will be the opposite of them multiplied together. In this case, minus x. X times 1 is 1x, and the negative of that. So factoring the sum and difference of cubes, that's what I've done here, x cubed plus 1. I recognize that as a sum or difference of cubes. And now, back on our problem, that is actually my denominator. X plus 1 times x squared minus x plus 1. And oh me, oh my, I am so shocked to see that at this point I can reduce that big beast of multiplication of fractions by removing the factor of x squared minus x plus 1. And I see that that hairy beast simplifies to x minus 4 over x plus 1. Done. Hardest thing in that problem? Factoring the sum and difference of perfect cubes and remembering it. Mr. Wood, you said it was going to show up again and again, but I didn't believe you. Well, maybe you believe me now. All right. Factor first and then simplify. That's the name of the game. Whew. That's a big one. 2x squared plus 4x over x squared minus 4x minus 12 times x squared minus 9x plus 18 over 2x. All we do today, factor first, then simplify. Break it down in parts. Up top, I have 2x squared plus 4x. 2x squared plus 4x, I can simplify. I can remove a common factor. The common factor I can remove here is 2x. If I remove 2x, that will leave me x plus 2. The bottom left, x squared minus 4x minus 12. I can factor that. That's negative 12, negative 4. That's a trinomial, x over, two numbers have multiplied for negative 12 and add for negative 4. Those numbers are negative 6 and positive 2. Next up, factoring the top right. X squared minus 9x plus 18. That's positive 18 and negative 9. X over, red rover, red rover. I think that's a good idea to make that today's password. Let's take today's password, red rover, red rover. Okay, so today's password, again, red rover, red rover. I don't know why it fits with today, it just happens to. So, let's see. Two numbers multiply together give me negative 18, or positive 18, and add together give me negative 9. That's negative 6, negative 3. Lastly, I can't really do anything with 2x. This board looks like a beast, but we're just going to rewrite everything in factor form. Again, the name of the game, factor first, then simplify. So, top left, I have 2x times x plus 2. Bottom, I have x minus 6 times x plus 2. Top right, I have x minus 6 times x minus 3. Bottom right, I have 2x. Now that I've factored everything, everything is being multiplied at this point. I can simplify. Simplify by using giant ones and reducing common factors. X plus 2's are a common factor. X minus 6's are a common factor. My 2x's are a common factor. And that leaves me with just x minus 3. In other words, everything's dropped out of this expression, and I'm left with x minus 3 by itself. I just have a 1 in the the denominator, so I don't need to put it. X minus 3 is my answer. You can leave it in parentheses if you'd like. No big deal on that. So again, this big, hairy beast of an equation, or actually, I'm sorry, as an expression, does simplify down to just x minus 3. Factor first, then simplify. Checkpoint, you guys. Factor first, then simplify. Pause the video. Unpause it when you're ready to go on. All right. Hopefully pause the video and you're ready to roll. We've got, let's see, so far we reduce fractions, then we multiply fractions. Whatever are we going to do next, Mr. Wood? I'm so excited and I just can't hide it. Well, I'm glad you asked that question. We're going to divide our rational expressions next. Since we reduced fractions and multiply fractions, now we're going to divide. Gee, Mr. Wood, that's almost like it makes sense. I remember something. Division of fractions is just like multiplying fractions, except for I have to multiply by the reciprocal. In other words, I do one extra step when I'm dividing fractions, and that is to rewrite and multiply by the reciprocal. So to divide fractions, we rewrite and multiply by the reciprocal. So, when we're dividing fractions, we'll rewrite, factor, and then simplify. If you want to keep it in the same expression, 3 over x plus 7 divided by 8x squared minus 8x over x squared plus 6x minus 7. You can factor first and then rewrite. You can rewrite and then factor It does not matter in this case. The key is recognizing that we are now talking about division, not multiplication. So since I like to be consistent, I'm going to do my rewrite first. So that's going to be 3 over x plus 7. I'm going to change my division to multiplication. And I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So x squared plus 6x minus 7 is up top now. And 8x squared minus 8x is on the bottom. So at this point, I did the one change, made my division multiplication, and now it's factor and simplify. 3 over x plus 7 times, let's see, x squared plus 6x minus 7, negative 7, positive 6, x over, what do we got there? How about positive 7, negative 1. So that's going to factor to x plus 7 times x minus 1. Oops, I didn't write that right. X plus 7 times x minus 1. Bottom, 8x squared minus 8x. 8x squared minus 8x, I can remove a common factor of 8x there. If I remove a factor of 8x, it will give me a factor of x minus 1. So my denominator is 8x times x minus 1. At this point, I have rewritten my division as multiplication. I've factored everything, and now it's time to simplify. Simplify by removing common factors. In this case, I have common factors of x minus 1s. I have common factors of x plus 7s. And I'm left with 3 over 8x. Nothing can reduce there. And that's your answer. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today, and today only, not really, but today only, you do have kind of a break on your work. Factoring and reducing is all that I'm asking you to do. Last checkpoint for you guys, and I'm done with this video. So, yeah, I'm not going to even ask you to pause it. Checkpoint, and you guys are good to go. I will see you guys back at school tomorrow. Have a good night.